VI.
It is 19 minutes past 8 o'clock for Thursday, the 2nd of October. I'm William Terite. Kia ora, thank you very much for your time and your company. Now, local elections are underway across the country and we're continuing our coverage by hearing from Pacific candidates putting their names forward. We turn to Porirua now, often described as the second home of Pacific people after Tāpiki Makaurau, Auckland, and Ura Wilson Pokoati is running for mayor. She joins us now to discuss why she's stepping up, she wants to lead the city, what her vision is for the city, and she's doing it to encourage more Pacific people to cast their vote as well. Kia ora, very good morning to you.
Kia ora. Malolele, talofalava, ni sambula. Morning to you.
Good morning. It's very exciting to have your company this morning. Hey, look, let's start off, and I ask every candidate that comes on, give us a wee bit about yourself, where you're from, and your cultural heritage.
Oh, me take. He uri a hau no Ngāti Toa, Ngāti Mani o Poto Waikato Tainui, Ngāti Raukawa, Ngāpue Hoki, he kuku airani, Māori hau no Mitiaro, Tongarewa, Rakanga Manihiki, me Atu, Hamo, village of Malie and Tahiti. My grandfather was also Scottish. I come from the Cook Islands, Samoa, mana whenua here in Porirua, and also Waikato Tainui and Ngāpui and Tahiti. I am a kaiako, a teacher here in Porirua. I'm a mama with grandchildren, 4 grandchildren. Why I stood is because I was asked to by my community, and also too, I think we need to normalise opportunities for our Pasifika people to step up, Māori and Pasifika, and lead.
Certainly, and thank you for your background and perhaps why you want to lead as well. Am I right in thinking that you ran in the past as well to be mayor?
Yes, I did. I've been involved actually here in Porirua in promoting other Pasifika people to stand in local elections. And my role in the past was to promote people into that role. And at the last minute, a couple of them had to pull out. And therefore, with all the hard work we did, I was then asked to step up and run. So there's a little bit of background that, yes, I did and why I did.
I see, okay. And as you alluded to, you were a kaiako. I mean, give me a bit of sense of, given your cultural heritage and your profession, I mean, how does that background shape the way you want to lead Porirua?
I think because of the fact that I've actually had over 30 years teaching in diverse settings, and before coming back to Porirua in 2013, I was working for 4 years over in Southeast Asia in diverse settings in Singapore, Brunei, and also then over to Australia. I worked there in multicultural settings in Blacktown. I think working with diverse communities and having that education background provides me with that cross-cultural communication. It provides me with the understanding of being able to work with diverse communities. And being from a Pasifika background also too, being brought up here in Porirua, I grew up in a family that was multilingual, multicultural, and then was educated here in Porirua Primary and Secondary School in similar Pasifika and other Indigenous contexts. Being, I think, also too, he wahine Māori, he Indigenous Māori Pasifika wahine, I bring a unique lens to the role of mayor here in Porirua. I'm actually academically well qualified with several degrees. I've also been a language specialist in bilingual education and promoting kuki arani Māori for the Ministry of Education of the Cook Islands. Also worked for the Ministry of Education here in senior advisory roles Pasifika. So I bring a breadth of experience both in governance and also in community volunteer initiatives as well.
Wow, that is a heck of a background that you have there, so that's awesome. Look, I want to get into some of the key issues that are plaguing not only Porirua, nationwide, but particularly amplified for Porirua. Let's say Porirua has some of the highest rents in the country, with real pressure on Pacific families. What do you want to do in that space?
think one of the major priorities for me, although my three priorities are people, partnerships, and progress, but in relation to people, with 35% of our Pacifica population, according to the 2023-24 census, we have about 14,000 Pacifica people here in Porirua, of which we've got about 35% that are under say 25. 35% of our people are Pacifica. So what I want to do is establish a youth council with the Porirua City Council. Their voice needs to be heard. They're our strength, they're our future. And of essence, also, I think, to the whole premise of having a youth council is to ensure that our decisions are reflective of the next generation coming through.
Indeed. And, rates are always sensitive. I think the incumbent mayor, Anita Baker, she has kept increases below the national average to her credit and council's credit. I mean, would you commit to doing the same, or do you think the city needs to invest more?
I think there's two parts to that question. If I can just answer the first part, thank you to the current mayors of Porirua and council for the efforts they've made to ensure that the rates are actually according to inflation. But I've just signed a ratepayer protection pledge, which you can't probably see, but I'm just going to read from this now actually and be quite succinct in it as well. Look, I'm going to oppose, as I promised here, any measures that seek to make rates, levies and additional council charges exceed the level of inflation and population growth. I'm going to support initiatives that improve transparency of council expenditure, including public disclosure of expenditure items, so transparency being very high up there with accountability. Oppose unelected appointments onto council committees with spending or regulatory powers. How are we going to actually ensure that at this particular time, where there's a lot of pressure, a lot of negativity out there about the increasing rates, the community need to be educated about why it is that rates are so high. The transparency rests with actually knowing where the council are actually putting money, the ratepayers' money. And secondly, also too, is we need to look at more creative initiatives that are going to bring money into the area. I've got more ideas about that, and I said there were two parts to this, and the second part of it is how we're going to go about generating the revenue, which is not enough coming from ratepayers. And also, too, the other thing with that is that we don't have a lot of private owners of homes here in Porirua. We're so diverse. We've got 22 communities. We've got Porirua from Cannis Creek, Waitangi homeowners right up to Pukerua Bay, Plymouth and Mana. That's another area that I could talk about. I hope I've answered that, William.
You certainly have. Hey, look, another issue that continues to plague, again, this is a nationwide issue, is low voter turnout, particularly for our Pacific people. The figures are pretty grim. What are you doing to try and shift the dial and the narrative to get people out to back you?
What I'm trying to do at the moment is I've worked with the churches in Porirua, in particular, the Aotearoa Cook Island Council Christian Church here in Wellington and Porirua. So we've actually had church meetings and we've had community meetings. We after church where people come and they ask their questions. So we're actually going out there and we're meeting with the community and we're helping them to understand the process of voting. Some of them may not want to go to the city council buildings, or they can't because they're working 2 or 3 jobs. They like it in the reo. They like to speak it. Face-to-face is very popular. So we're getting out there in our team. We're meeting people, a small team, but we're getting the word out. They know who to ring. They know who to sit down with. We help them by getting the enrolment forms. I've rung the Porirua City Council and asked if they do some workshops as they did in the past earlier on, but unfortunately this is just happening now, a little bit too late. However, we've got in there, we're meeting with the people, we've got the electoral enrolment forms from the Electoral Commission. They've forwarded to me the envelopes, so people are actually setting their things off on the day, filling them in, and also asking what is STV, which is quite difficult for them to understand also too, and how it is that we came about with this system. So it's about just engaging with the community all the time and meeting their needs. So now we've got a little bit more people who are understanding and people have actually enrolled. still late people enrolling and people wanting to vote. On Facebook asking, word of mouth, deacons in the church, youth group in the church helping other youth to enrol. Yeah,
Okay.
for our meetings.
That's awesome. And so now we're just going to go into a quick fire round, very quick. It's just very short, sharp answers, but keen to get your perspective on these things. Do you support amalgamating Wellington councils, yes or no?
No.
Okay. You back Māori wards, yes or no?
Yes.
And this one, it's not a yes or no question, but it's, are you left, right, or not to be boxed in politically? You can go across both aisles.
I'm independent at the moment, and I would say I can go this way.
Okay, brilliant.
I'm
And
not a seasoned politician, William. I'm not a seasoned politician, but I was born Indigenous. I was born Māori. I was born Pasifika. So Māori and Pasifika, I think we're born political.
I love that. That's an awesome way to phrase it. Hey, look, as well, I just want to get a bit of a sense check from you. How are you feeling about it? Are you feeling like you're in the driver's seat of this mayoralty campaign? Give me a bit of sense just before we wrap it up.
Right at the beginning, I wanted this campaign to be a positive one. At the moment, it is really tough for everybody here in Aotearoa and here in Porirua as well too. So positivity along the trail is really important. I think with positivity within that paradigm, it's also important to say, hey, yeah, we're going to drive this and we're going to drive it forward. And it's about people, it's about partnerships, and about progress. And, we've got our driver's license, we're experienced drivers, and we're going to lead this and drive.
Awesome. Well, finally, what's your plea to voters in your area to get out and vote? Why should they vote for you?
I think the most important thing they've got to actually think about is to have an Indigenous person who is Māori Pasifika, who represents a diverse range of our Pasifika groups, who's worked in the area and also too has a range of skills. You want people sitting around the table who can actually advocate for their voices. And I want to be a voice and have been a voice for other community groups. I've got a track record of actually starting community initiatives off. You said in the beginning, wow, that's quite a lot. Yeah, it is a lot, but I'm actually experienced. So when you're experienced and you've done quite a few things, there's a lot of skills that you can bring to the table. So hopefully, they will vote for me and recognise that I can bring a voice to the table and it's their voice.
Indeed. That is Ura Wilson Pokoati. Thank you very much. Running to be Mayor of Porirua, a heck of a job. And the experience you've outlined, really appreciate your time and your analysis of the situation as well. All the best.
Kia ora.
Meitaki.
Thank you.
You're listening to